Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we have a very special guest who sits right at the intersection of new gen AI, new technologies, and also right at the intersection of also finance and operations. We have with us the CFO of Nxtra by Airtel, Mr. Deepesh Sirohia. Sir has a career spanning more than 12 years at this point in telecom sector, of which more than a decade has been with Airtel. He has seen company through some troubling times, especially things like Geo's disruption, the COVID, and the spectrum releases. Sir today is now leading a new business vertical, which is India's biggest data center network, but which also aims to grow more than 7 times in the next 5 to 6 years. Today, let's have a chat with sir and understand what this industry is really about, what are the variables, and well, how one can go there. Hello, sir.
Hi.
So, how has the experience been here at XLRI?
So yeah, first of all, thanks for having me here. Broadly, an exciting day out there, understanding different spheres of different people, different understandings at VerteX. So this was an enriching experience for me as well. Broadly, the kind of things that XLRI is doing right now, I understood that just a while back over lunch with them. The kind of things, the kind of way how academia along with industry are participating and trying to build on things.
Right.
I mean, this is something very, very interesting, because at our times, I think all we had were textbooks.
Right.
Today, the kind of I mean, I would call it academic experience rather than textbook learning.
Yes.
So that's a massive change that I can see over here, and really nice. It was actually a enriching day for me.
Thank you, sir. We really like that this experience that we tried to curate over a lot of days has turned out well for you. So,
Right.
firstly, starting off, I would like to know something about your journey. So, we see that you have been in telecom industry for so long, and I think if we look in terms of the macro changes, one of the macro changes could maybe be the original Nokia phones that came into India. But the second democratization of mobile networks and telecom in general happened while you were still there. So please let us through your journey. How did you get into telecom? Then where did your management come from? And then how you have transitioned into this new role where you are going to redefine what computing probably and the infrastructure looks like in the next decade.
Yeah, so broadly, I would say once I was fresh out of my course, I am a chartered accountant, and after that, I just entered into a campus placement and hence got into steel industry. But very soon, I had a feeling that somehow technology excites me. I mean, being at that time, this was 12-13 years back, when I felt that I should actually, after spending a few years in the steel industry, then I felt that no, I should do something differently. So I entered telecom, and after a couple of years, I moved into Airtel. Since then, I would have done about some 7 or 8 roles within my entire journey with this thing, and have held various roles across. So Airtel has got 2 different frames. One, that of the center, which is the major SME and the thinking part of it, and then the operations are divided across 18 local circles.
Right.
So I've done stints both at the circle as well as at center. This entire piece, as we speak about the disruption that came in, I think when I joined in, it was an exciting industry to be there with about 12 players in the market. For somebody at that stage of my career, I was looking at an industry which was having a lot of competition, so that it can give you a very best value and growth alongside. So that was the purpose. But then ultimately, just in a few years, it all collapsed like a pack of cards. So yes, that's how it was. But amazing to see, and the kind of experience that this particular scenario that we went through, how we navigated through that entire piece, I think it would be one of the most valuable experiences that I will carry throughout my career. So that's how it is. Now after that, having done a lot of things in the telecom part of this organization, then now I felt that so again this data center piece coming into fray over the last few years, it was again something very exciting for me as to what this new kid on the block is. So yeah, so given the kind of organization that we have, the management bet on me,
Right.
and I took it. So broadly, yes, this has been a good experience till now. Over the last 1 year, I have been into data centers.
So what I can
Yeah.
see from the way you communicate it, that you are naturally curious as a person. You try your hand out at new things. And this is a line we'll explore later, but there's one pertinent question that I would like to double down on, which was the disruption in the falling of the pack of cards, as you say. So I think Airtel is a brilliant case study in the fact that India, which was considered a very cost-centric market, not even value-centric market, that market had an onslaught of cost reduction. But even among all of this, Airtel, I think, barely lost any market share. The market share that it has currently, the other part of the 100%, I think it was dominated by all the other small players. I think Docomo was one of them, Hutch, Vodafone, and Idea were different companies. So how
Airtel,
did
Reliance, I
exactly?
mean, so many. Yeah.
So how exactly did, like, what would you think in your top of your mind, three or four things that the finance division, because I think they have access to all the company strategies, what were you guys executing? What was the Airtel executing that it was able to protect its forte?
Yeah, so I think the most important thing that we did at that time was keeping the customer experience and the customer at the heart of all that we did. Uh, so internally, there was a thing that customer obsession has to be the most important thing. And for people like us who are in finance, uh, our understanding was that there are two sets of people who work in an organization. One who faces the customer, and second, the one who faces the customer.
Right.
So either of you has one customer, either the one a direct customer or
An indirect
the
customer.
somebody in your organization who faces the customer. So
Right.
you have to have that obsession there for the customer, and that across the entire organization was very clear that you have to be obsessed about the customer. That is one. Second, I think what we continued to do was keep doing the things that went right. Uh, do not tinker with a lot of things,
Right.
so that the customer gets confused about what is happening in the market or not. You just keep doing the right thing every day and continuously without changing a lot of things for the customer, and at the same time keep evolving from the market scenarios.
Right.
That time telephony used to be a 30 paisa call and a pack of 100
Right.
rupees talk time. Slowly we shifted into the newer packs and the newer things, and so that experience for the customer, shifting from the old way of understanding things of telecom to moving into a new shift or a paradigm shift, uh, we wanted to have that slightly smoothly so that the customer does not face that shock, and at the same time again the customer experience. So these were the two things. And thirdly, keeping people motivated around uh, thing that whatever is happening in the market, you just keep doing your thing right, rest will all fall in place. uh, so these were the few things that we did, which actually now it shows clear results.
Definitely, I think the results speak louder, because otherwise we would have thought that Airtel is not taking a decisive step. But we figured out that it actually just doubled down on its strengths, which was, I believe, even pre-Geo, one of the USPs of Airtel was that connectivity. You could go to villages and you would still find some connection, which was a major problem. So I think the quality aspect that Airtel was able to maintain, I think it has just cemented its moat. which then brings me to the second and the more exciting part of our conversation, where we today discover a completely new business. So, sir, tell us what Nxtra is all about and how is it different from most other industries we have seen.
Yeah, so broadly, Nxtra is into data centers, and data centers today are uh, to an extent at the heart of the entire, I would call it, the computing ecosystem across the globe.
Right.
I mean, you have your, I mean, your banking services are running on it.
Hmm.
Your pictures are getting saved on it. Your B2B services are running on it. Your AI is running on it. Whatever you call it, through some logic or the other, at the end of the day, it is on a data center.
Makes sense.
Uh,
So basically, every time I switch on my internet, any service that I could connect to
you get connected to a data
is
center
basically
ultimately.
a
So
data
so
center.
so we can call it some wireless connectivity. Then there is a fiber
Optic cable.
connecting fiber optic cable connecting it to a data center. Ultimately, that's how you're connected.
Right.
And a web of this entire piece is what we call the World Wide Web, which ultimately is into what it is today.
Right. So basically, these data centers are these are servers, and a lot of these servers connected together, then they make up the complete pool of knowledge, which is the internet.
Correct. So this is probably the fourth generation or fifth generation of computing that we have. The first generation used to have those PCs wherein
The
you
vacuum
had the
tubes.
CPU, the hard disk, and all of that. Now the first layer of it happened that the hard disk went out into organizations' IT rooms, and the CPUs remained into the laptops
Right.
for some level of computing and storage. So computing and storage got
A lot of these old
differentiated.
movies we used to see had these people whose hard drives were being
Exactly.
snatched or
Exactly. So
seized.
that was the first stage.
Yeah.
Then your computing and storage got differentiated,
Right.
and the next stage came wherein now the computing and storage both are out of your the physical location, and which are spaced at a different location, because of the scale that it provides, because of the resiliency that it provides. I think most of the cloud and data center pieces are extremely resilient, extremely scalable. uh, you can scale this within a few hours to days to weeks, depending on the kind of a scale you want. And at the same time, the kind of resilience that these provide is like, we call it 5 nines. You get a downtime of about 6 minutes a year. So that's what we commit. So that's the kind of resilience you build and scalability. So this gives you a both way onto a layer which is of IT, which is one of the most critical pieces of any industry that we are running upon. So this is like an infrastructure. This is like an highway today.
So in our strategy class, our professor actually tells us that everything is about trade-off. And when you're looking at a product, generally the trade-off is between innovation and reliability. But data centers look to be those places which are more reliable, but also more innovative because I don't need to have anything on my phone. So I think this is the best way we can sum them up. They are basically taking away the trade-off that we have to make. So now that we look at data centers, I think largely the general PR about data centers is that they are causing all the water scarcity, they are causing electricity scarcity. I think recently NSE published a data which said that algo trading has become the major portion of trading in the market. So there were concerns regarding that. And then a lot of people in India just trying to steal electricity and mine cryptocurrency. So data centers somehow have been in a negative light despite being the infrastructure and not the manifestation. So what about data centers is so fundamental to today's innovation that actually outclasses all of these negative consequences that we are seeing? How is it a fundamental innovation still?
See, every industry or every economic development that you do poses certain kind of risks to the society. If you're going and building a highway, you have to shift some of the houses there. So that's some kind of a social impact on this particular piece. Every industry, every infrastructure will have such. What you need to do is just ensure that the impact does not impact people actually the way it is, and you achieve your benefit along with that. So that is where the social impact assessment is to be done for any kind of an industry that you have. For data centers, even if we talk about each of the lines, the most heaviest point that is thrown on data centers is around the power guzzling
Consumption.
that we do. I think consumption is still. I mean, I would call it a small,
Conservative.
conservative word. These are power guzzlers.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to explain the capability of a data center, currently we are making 20 megawatt to 50 megawatt data centers
Right.
that we have. Now, just to explain a megawatt, 1 megawatt is about 1,000 ACs running in parallel, and a 20 megawatt to 50 megawatt data center is like 20,000 to 50,000 ACs running.
So 1 megawatt is
in
basically electricity that a village in India would require.
Correct.
Small village.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They don't even need a megawatt. I mean, it's much lower. So mostly some of these large data centers will consume electricity to the tune a city would consume, barring aside the industrial consumption. The domestic consumption of a city would be parallel to what a data center consumes.
Right.
So they are extremely this. But at the same time, what we are doing today is currently we are 60% green. The power that we are consuming is all solar or renewable energies. We are going to move. We have committed that by 2031 we would be 100% renewable energy.
Right.
We have committed to the RE. So while the Indian government says by 2070 we would be moving to net zero kind of a target, we have kept a very aggressive target of 2031. So ultimately, at the end of the day, the social impact has to be you have to do a few things for the economic benefit of it, but at the same time, not let it impact the society and the future generations that we have. So we have got a full-blown ESG framework through which we manage all of this, and that's how it is.
So I actually have a curveball here for you. One of these podcasts that I actually hear too, there was a person who came up with a very good analogy where they tell that every 0.1% of GDP that we used to think, we think it's a number. But in 1991, when India liberalized, this 1% growth in GDP meant that 15 lakh people less go to sleep without having 2 square meals a day. So how can we, let's say, express the benefits that are coming out of a data center in humanitarian terms so it becomes easy for people to compare?
Yeah,
it's slightly a curveball, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so absolutely that. So it is just like so I normally compare all the infrastructures with actually roads that we have. So years back we only used to have a single lane or a 2-lane highway. At that time we did not have enough number of or rather we did not have those many number of vehicles on the road. But today digital connectivity is the new infrastructure, and hence what we have seen in India over the last 5, 7, 10 years is that with so much of connectivity coming into place, a lot of economic benefits have been given to the people, to the society through the digital highway. That is direct benefit transfers. That is the UPI payments that we do. That is dispersal of loans over a few minutes through back-end checking of some fintech organization. So there are so much of economic benefits that we have derived out of this digital highway that we have created. Data center is one of the major legs of that highway. If you look at this entire pyramid into this kind of a structure, then probably you will understand why these are so important. Both connectivity as well as data centers for the overall economic, not just economic, but socio-economic gains of the country. that's
So
how
basically, a growth in the services sector, a direct benefit transfer. So 10 years ago, 12 years ago, we had that Anna Hazare protest, which
exactly.
was basically because the company lacked transparency. The country as a whole was going very corrupt. But today we are seeing that because of the new digital initiatives, transparency is being ensured. So maybe that is the actual human benefit that even data centers carry. Every call you are able to make to one of your loved ones, maybe it's being made possible by a data center. So a lot
Yeah,
of benefits.
just to add up on it, right now when we are talking something, somehow ultimately this will get stored into a data center and then
Exactly.
get delivered to all of you. So right now we are also using one of the setups of a data center only. So that's how things work in today's time, and hence almost all our action that we do in each, I mean, so many times during the day,
Right.
we ultimately get in touch with the data center, but there is the other side to it, and we have to be cautious about that, and we are.
Right. So I hope that this video ends up in an extra data center. And with that, I would actually like to bring you to one of the niches that I particularly like, and that is finance.
Right.
So everyone watching this would be waiting for a CFO is there on the guest podcast. Where's the finance questions? So when I look at Nxtra, I'm amazed because I see a company that's trying to build infrastructure, but the infrastructure is built on a fundamental disruption in which the industry is still constantly evolving at a very tumultuous rate, right? What are the kind of investments that, let's say, Nxtra potentially has? How do you compare these? What are the benefits and the harms that flow out to the company? So that people having a sense of these investments understand that how exactly do these fit into the main business?
Yeah, so actually data centers are for that matter, while they are power guzzlers, they are rupee guzzlers or dollar guzzlers as well. So this is a highly capex intensive industry. You have to spend a lot of it into the infrastructure that goes behind it, and then uh, and because of the sheer scale, you have to then slowly monetize it over a very long time. Financially, if you ask me, the only model that we look at is the IRRs, the better IRRs from some of the clear. So when we compare proposals, we look at only one metrics, which is the IRR. There are many other capital budgeting techniques that are available, but IRR seems to be the best for this kind of an industry. That is one. Second, still capital allocation is all about finding the right way on how you monetize or how you do things faster. Into this kind of an industry wherein everything is happening so fast, you have to be very careful about where you put your bet upon. And hence one wrong here and there would just lead you to 3 years of building some kind of a pipeline wherein which may not come up, and hence impacting the entire setup. So this remains quite a trick, but at the same time you have to go hand in hand with the business folks as to what are they seeing, what are they forecasting, how are your customers going to do over the next 4 or 5 years, what are the things that they are changing. I get onto a lot of customer calls as well. I go along with my business folks onto customer calls just to understand their mindsets, what are they doing, what do they feel, and so on and so forth, just to have my frame of mind at the same time clear as to what should be our finance strategy around that.
Makes sense.
That's all.
So, before we move forward, I would like to again come back to the fact about the capex intensive industry, right? So, when we think of, let's say, Nxtra as a business model, we think that, oh, they are building data centers, information technology is the future. Obviously, it's a profitable project. It's just about who has the money. This is what an average person would think like. But from the business that you are in, what are the financial risks, operational risks, strategy risks that we face on a daily basis that someone outside the industry would not be able to guess?
Yeah, so I'll give you one of the a few industry. I think as a layman, what do you think? Where should we build a data center?
If I'm being very honest, I think the Airtel should build it in the Thar desert because there's a lot of sunlight. You can put up a solar panel, get all the power. The water cooling thing would be an issue though, that I realize. But also, like the land would be cheaper, so your capital costs go down.
Exactly. That's absolutely what I wanted from you as a layman, and that's absolutely what I used to think a year back. And no surprise.
Yeah.
Now a few facts. 55% of Indian data center industry is based out of Mumbai. If I include Chennai, NCR, Bangalore, and Hyderabad, we make up 97% of the Indian data center industry.
So let me take a guess. Is it because of the latency?
Yes. That is
Okay,
one of the
that
key
makes sense.
primary factors. And at the same time, just understand that so even latency can be to an extent reduced, but
I would
at the
actually like you
same
to
time,
explain latency for the benefit of our
oh,
guests.
all right. I don't think in the age of, most of you guys would be gamers, and hence latency would be a very clear thing for you to understand. But still, latency is the ping time between two. Again, I'm getting technical. Latency is the speed of connectivity. Like the speed of light, it is like the speed of connectivity. How fast you can connect between two spots. So probably that involves two things: how wide is your pipe through which the data is being transferred, and at the same time, how long is it? Again, compare it to a highway. I don't know. I don't
You
have
like
many new
highway?
anecdotes, but yeah, so it is. So broadly, that's what latency is. And at the same time, most of the organizations want to have their active equipments placed into a data center which is quite accessible to their technical folks. Like if the technical folk are sitting in Mumbai, and I give them a data center in say Katni, Madhya Pradesh. Probably if there is a downtime into his server, he will have to spend some 12 hours at the lowest to reach there. By that time, it's a disaster. This industry we are talking about is 6 minutes a year, and if something goes wrong on the other side, you just cannot survive. And hence, what you need to do is do this very very near to the customer, do this very very fast to the customer, and hence the entire setup of this. Still we are able to do some of those green things because of some of the good regulations that the country has. We can have a solar plant much far away from Mumbai, say in Amravati or a Nagpur or a Vidarbh area, and still source that energy into the data center through mechanisms that the government has from the regulatory framework, and hence you can combine both of them and do things better.
So actually takes me to another tangential line. We talked about renewable energy.
Yeah.
And we have a target of being net zero by 2031. So, given these things, what do you believe is the most potent renewable energy source? We know solar panels are being heralded everywhere, but they have their certain limitations. Then I believe even battery storage is one of the biggest problems India is facing. And now sun, especially solar storage, it comes with a disadvantage that it runs up during the day but it dries up during the night. Is there a more better source, a more constant source that we can probably look into? What are your views on what is the next big renewable?
Yeah, so for renewables, we are actually doing a combination. So initially we started with solar, then we moved on to a combination of solar and wind now. So wind is somewhat more stable during the entire day, and hence the round the clock impact of this is better. Somewhat some level of battery storage is anyways a play
Required.
in between both of them. All of that taken together, as we speak right now, this is the most viable, at the same time feasible combination of RE that we have. Going forward, there are things, hydrogen fuel cells are coming up. There are different new technologies, some water based or gas based solutions are coming up. But as of now, they are more into the R&D rooms than into the sunlight actually. and hence I believe they will take some more time to go on ground.
Right. So now one of the very last questions, sir. Uh, Seeing as this industry is, we have two big changes that have come about just in February. 20-year tax haven on data centers that are catering to foreign customers, and also it has recently been announced by Airtel and Nxtra that there's going to be a $1 billion investment further. Sitting on these changes, we see that Nxtra is aspiring to be the biggest. It's already the biggest player. It's aspiring to be even large, dominate the market. What does your expansion strategy looks like? What do you perceive about the market? Where do you think opportunities lie? And we'll take up a follow-up question from this as well, that for students watching our podcast, what are the skills that are now required for you to be equipped you with when you are going into this new digital scalable AI-led world?
Yeah, so first of all, most of the data center requirements are based around two major factors. One is around cloud and second is around AI.
Hmm.
So right now what Nxtra is doing is targeting both.
Hmm.
The kind of customers that are available in the market, these are majority of the global players that dominate the entire, who are the customers to data centers across the globe. There are some 4, 5, 6 hyperscalers, which are like the Microsoft, the AWS, and then your Google, etc. So they are the ones who keep taking a lot of data center spaces across the world. Uh, with the government of India coming up with this particular tax change, they have clearly showed their intent to uh, get into a very large share of this pie, and hence this is where the game is changing towards India into the data center industry. Now, within the entire framework, we right now serve almost each of the large customer that is there in the planet. Uh, what they want to do with us, we are clear with that, and we are actively engaged with that, and we just have to keep stay connected with them, so that we plan our. So the problem with data center industry is that the lead time to build a data center takes about
A year?
3 years,
3 years.
2 to 3 years.
Okay.
The civil construction, the entire mechanical piece, it takes about 2 years. From land acquisition, probably 3 years.
A small
Uh,
deviation. So
yeah.
there's a recent surge in prices of RAM and a lot of storage. So does that also affect lead time these days?
Uh, so that does not impact some of the lead times, but yes, availability and supply chain
Okay.
impacts do take slight here and there, but you have to shift
major
your critical
variable.
path accordingly. Probably at times they end up into your critical path, but not necessarily they would.
So
I
they are
mean,
not a significant variable,
yeah,
I'm assuming.
there are slight changes because of that,
Okay.
but still. You manage your operations through a plan B or a plan C out there. So broadly, again, coming back, you have to know what your customer wants 3 years down the line today, just to ensure that you do the right thing over the next 3 years. This is an industry where either you lock your capital by going into a wrong place and building a center over there where there is no customer, or you end up building chasing the tail of where the entire
Money has
industry is
already flown.
yes. So it's a very complicated kind of a situation, but you have to be very, very clear of what the industry is looking at, and hence you keep accordingly flowing through into it.
And so then the follow-up question of, in this new AI-led world, everything is digitalized, a lot of job replacements possible. What are the skills that companies like Nxtra, but also definitely clients of Nxtra, that's probably every major corporation. So what are these companies now looking out for, especially for, let's say, management graduates or trainees?
I think the most important skill, my suggestion to each one of you would be not to get bogged down by the so-called AI thing. AI is ultimately an enabler to human thinking. It can never be something, human beings can never be replaced. That's what my feel is. Yes, you have to stay agile, you have to be decisive onto things, you have to be clear about your thoughts, but at the same time, your speed of action gets enabled very, very heavily by AI. Most of the operational activities like checking those invoices, me being a finance guy, I'm just giving those examples, checking of those invoices, whether the number is correct, the GST number is correct, whether the amount is totaling right or not, etc, 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 will get processed by AI. That's absolutely not what you have to do. So those functions will get replaced. If somebody has put up a fake invoice, that also will be very, very clear that there is a ink mismatch between the date and the item, so probably that will also get caught. But all those things even humans were not able to do very, very easily, but AI will be certainly doing it. So those are activities which are anyways not, but at the same time there is a decision layer, there is a navigation layer, there is a emotional layer, there is a org and cultural layer that we all fit into. And businesses are built around that. Be aware of that, be clear about those layers that are beyond the regular processing of the operational things. The operational things will be managed through Nxtra data centers on some AI layer somewhere. So that's how it is.
So if the person with the most amount of compute in India is not worried about AI replacing us, I think we people with our own device NPUs don't need to worry just
Absolutely.
about now.
Absolutely.
So that brings us to an end of the questions we had. If you have any final message for our audience.
So I think certainly the last question had my final message. Me coming from a data center industry, from a technology industry over the last few years, I still believe that we should not feel anything about the industry. Technology is only an enabler to human beings. So we should actually build onto them, how to use them, how to be really updated about the latest that is happening in and around the technology, what is happening. So you have to be really updated about those things, but at the same time do not get bogged down by that. So that's all my message for everyone is.
Well, that was our guest today, ladies and gentlemen. This was VerteX podcast on CXO Club of XLRI. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.